Who's going to start and what is the rotation going to look like for the Kentucky Wildcats? That is the conversation on today's episode of the Wildcats Today Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, writer and editor over at Wildcats Today, joined as always by my co-host, Carson. Nash, listen, Carson, we got to give a shout out to somebody. Who are we giving a shout out to? And this is a thing, not a person. We want to shout out the Batcats. What say you about the Batcats, Mr. Nash?
Oh, I'm stoked. Winning the region over Indiana State and headed to a super region, hosting a super region in Kentucky Proud Park upcoming weekend. But I'm super excited. Two games away, Andrew. We're 2 games away.
From Omaha, Nebraska, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, now Oregon State is a no-joke, solid baseball team. They got Travis Bazzana, who's potentially, for those Reds fans out there, going to be the Reds pick they have the second pick. Whatever. They have the second pick, I think. But, yes, they do have the second pick. So, he's a potential guy to go there. So, something to watch there. But rooting for the Batcats, 2 wins away from Omaha. That's really, really exciting. So, I hope everybody can get out to the ballpark this weekend. It should be a ton of fun. And if the Cats go to Omaha, we'll do a show. Cats going to Omaha, let's break it down. But to get into this discussion, Carson, unfortunately, I think we agree more than we did last time, which isn't a problem, but I want to run through this. So Carson wrote down the minutes he projects players to play. Then we have the rotations and the lineup. So let's run through it. Carson Nash, who is your starting point guard?
Yeah, my starting point guard is Lamont Butler. I have him playing 22 minutes a game right now.
Yeah. If y'all remember the episode where we kind of did this a little while back, I was big on Kirk Creasha, which I still am. But then I sat and I thought, I'm like, okay, Andrew Carr, Jackson Robinson, Kobe Bray, those guys are going to be your scorers. You need your defensive guys. And I just think that, and with that, you need somebody that can score with your second rotation, with your other rotations. So I think it makes sense to start Lamont Butler at the 1. I have officially changed my opinion on who I believe is the starting point guard for the Cats this year, and that's Lamont Butler. And I agree with you on the minutes. I don't think he's going to play 30 minutes. I think it's going to be, you said 22, right?
22, yeah.
22. I think that's really fair. I think that's a fair number for Butler.
Yeah, and I have a method to my madness too, because if you look at Pope's BYU teams, he always rotates like 10 players a game because they play so fast-paced and everything. And so that's kind of what I have down here with all our guys.
And he also doesn't play guys a lot. They're Jackson Robinson played like 27 minutes or something last year, 26 minutes. Like, they're not playing 35 minutes. It's not going to be like someone's in the game the whole game except for a couple minutes. Like, we are going to have fresh bodies all game long. And that stuff works. That stuff helps. I mean, it really does. So who do you have at the 2 in the starting lineup, Carson?
Yeah, I have Kobe Brea playing 26 minutes a game.
Yeah. I'm with you on Kobe Brea. I think that he is going to be one of the best shooters, if not the best shooter, in college hoops. And I think that this system, man, if the ball's moving, everybody's passing, everybody's shooting, watch out, man. Watch out. Because
50% three-point shooter.
Yeah. He's going to have some looks. And they're not going to want him to have looks. He's going to get looks based on ball movement. Unless, and this could happen, the coach says, don't leave his face. Like, don't leave his face and face guard. And then in that case, you find ways to get open without the basketball. He will find ways to get open. And quite frankly, he can shoot him if he's not open. He can make them. So I'm with you on Brea at the 2. I think he is your number 1. Every time the ball leaves his hand, everyone's going to think it's going in. He's going to be that guy this year. I think last year it was Reed and Reeves. Those were it's in the air, it's going in. And then Rob, in all honesty, when you have like 18 guys shooting over 40%, it's hard to not have. But, you had those guys last year. Reeves, Jack's one up. You're going, man, this thing's going in. It's just reality. I think that's going to be Kobe Brea this year. When that thing leaves his hand, you're going to see 3 fingers go up in the air at my house every time. And if he misses, it's going to be a little embarrassing, but it is what it is.
especially in a system that had a top 5 attempts from 3 last year.
Exactly. And I believe it was 2, right? What was it?
I think so, yeah.
Like they're going to be shooting them, and I think they're going to be going in if Kobe Bryant is shooting them. So who do you have at the 3?
Yeah, I've got our good old pal Jackson Robinson playing 28 minutes a game.
Yeah. So, it's so funny, Carson. I mean, we're getting ready to get to our B team when in a minute, and it's like when I say B team, I mean it's like, dude, these guys are really, really good. How I'm looking at some of the names on this list, going, they're not going to start, and that is insane. Because these were really good basketball players. But that's reality Jackson Robinson. And I'll tell you what, and y'all remember last episode, I was fired up on that one. And I am not coming down off that fired upness. I'm still rocking and rolling on the hype train. But, the thing about that even gets me more excited is realizing like NBA teams were in on Jackson Robinson. This is not for the folks that are like, and Carson, we still keep seeing, oh, they're pulling together a whole bunch of ragtag random players. No, they're not. Jackson Robinson was a player that NBA teams would he have gotten drafted? Probably not. And if he would have been one of the last 5 couple picks, but that doesn't matter. Point is, he was drawing interest from NBA teams, NBA scouts. This dude can play. And I think he is going to compete with the guy that you listed as the starting 2 and the guy we're going to list here at our starting 4 to lead this team in scoring. So I'm all in on Jackson Robinson. So, of course, tell me what, we have Robinson. They're around the same height. So, Robinson's 6'7", and listed at his actual measurement, he would, in shoes, he's 6'7". And then Brea.
Yeah, they play basketball in shoes, Andrew.
They do. Okay, whatever. Whatever. Not really.
I don't know why they measure without shoes on. It
is silly. But I also don't agree. Shoes, unless you're wearing high heels, they're like an inch. Like it's not like I think people think shoes make you. Oh, I was 6'7", now I'm 7'2". Like no, it's like an inch. Like he went from 6'5" to 6'7". How it's whatever. But beside the point. This is when all your buddies make fun of your height because you say you're a certain height, and then they always say you're an inch shorter. This really gets to you. So, Mike, but you remember that you remember that in Atlanta? We're not going to go over that story, but yeah. But so, Carson, you believe that Robinson is he going to slash more? Or is he going to shoot more? Because you can do both. What do you think you're going to see more out of Jackson Robinson this season for the Cats?
Well, I think you're going to get a little bit of both because I think he's really good in the mid-range game too. So I think you're going to get him with the ball in his hands a majority of the time and creating some sort of opportunity for himself and others. So maybe he gets a zoom action screen leading into a take at the rim, but maybe passes it up for a Brea 3 in the corner. Or he stops and hits a turnaround fadeaway from the free throw line. I just think Jackson Robinson is so skilled that he can almost do anything, and you'd be fine with it.
Exactly. I think that he's gonna, and it's a good problem to have, but everybody can shoot the ball. It's a good problem to have. You're not going to see Williams. I don't think you'll see him shoot a single 3 this season. Maybe you will. I don't know, but probably not. My point is, everybody else on the floor can shoot it. And it's a good problem to have because while would I rather Brea shoot it than Robinson or Butler? Yes. I'm not going to be upset if Butler, Robinson, or the player we're going to talk about here in a minute shoot the ball. So, I like Jackson Robinson. I think that he's going to really step into a more significant role this year. I think he's going to be that guy. Jackson, we need a bucket. Go get one. And more times than not, he's going to get the job done. So I'm excited about him. Carson, do you remember the text I sent you? Maybe it was yesterday or the day before. I was literally just sitting here. I was sitting here. I'll read it out loud. A little behind the scenes. I was literally just sitting here. I'm pretty sure I was like eating breakfast or something. Like it was one of those, like it was like a shower thought. Here's my text to Carson the other day. I just said, I have convinced myself Andrew Carr is going to be a monster. That happened. I was just sitting here and I was like, Andrew Carr is going to be an absolute monster. So Carson, we both have him as the starting 4 for the Wildcats. What are your thoughts on Andrew Carr? Because I'm getting ready to go through a brick wall when I get to talk about him. So I'll let you start us off here.
Yeah, no, I've always been super high on him since he's committed. I remember the first pod since he committed, I was saying that he would be first team all SEC this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is good at everything he does. I don't think there's a weakness in his game at all. I think he is the perfect four-man for Pope's offense. I think he's going to be able to do high ball screens and pick and pop and facilitate well enough to just almost run the offense. And it makes me really excited.
A four who can shoot the ball. And when I say shoot the ball, we're not talking about Aaron Bradshaw. We're not doing that. I mean, I'm talking about a four who truly can shoot the ball. Like what Trey Mitchell was before he got the yips last year. That is huge. And listen, and Carson, you stop me if I'm wrong. Okay, how about this? Trey Mitchell or Andrew Carr?
Andrew Carr.
Is it even a debate in your head? Like, do you
I don't
think
so,
it?
No.
Okay. I agree, of course. So what I'm saying is this kid is so skilled. I mean, he is so skilled with the basketball. I think as basketball fans, and I always gripe people for doing this, and it's what I'm doing right now. But when anyone higher than 6'9" can dribble and shoot, it's like the most exciting thing in the world. But it's just reality. And, but this is not one of those. Andrew Carr is not a gimmick when it comes to the tall guys that can shoot. He is legit. He can shoot. He is skilled. This is not, you know what I mean? I mean, Bradshaw, I'm not trying to harp on Bradshaw.
He's got the Dirk fadeaway.
But yeah, he's got the Dirk fadeaway. He can shoot the three, and he can score around the rim without a fadeaway. He can, I mean, he
can put the ball on the ground.
And he averaged 7 boards a game. I mean, what more do you want? I mean, seriously. And it's not a fluke is what I'm saying. The 37%, whatever it was, I think it was almost 38% he shot from three. I don't think that's a fluke. Carson, you and I watch enough basketball. You can tell watching someone shoot the ball. I'll tell you this. I think golf, how they say swing your swing. I think basketball is a little different. I know some people have different form, but man, looking at pretty shooting form, somebody can shoot. Andrew Carr has pretty shooting form. And it's not your wind it up, slow it down right here, 3 seconds, and then shoot. It's not your 7-second load up before release. It's quick and it's pretty, his jump shot. And it's going to go in the SEC. It's going to go in big games. So I'm all in on Andrew Carr. I think I would get in a fist fight with 50 sumo wrestlers to defend Andrew Carr without a debate. I will do the same.
Maybe we can make that happen.
I will do the same for Brandon Garrison. We'll get to that in a minute. Those are the two guys. I will run through a wall and I will fight 13 great white sharks.
Whoa.
And 4 king cobras and 6 polar bears to defend these guys. I'm serious.
I don't know if those odds
if anyone can make it happen, you let us know how to make it happen. We'll make it happen. Like when I said I was going to fight an alligator in Hilton Head on the baseball trip, and then we saw one, and I was like, well, maybe not. Maybe not. But so who's your starting 5, Carson?
Yeah, I got Amari Williams. And I had Carr playing 28 minutes a game, and I got Amari playing 24.
Okay. So what do you like about Amari Williams, Carson?
Well, I love the defensive end with him. I think he is a absolute stud. And if you watch his highlights, it's not one of those. I feel like we got in a lot of trouble last year because our bigs just did not make smart decisions on the defensive end. Like they're jumping at every single pump fake known to man. And if you watch Amari Williams, he waits. He'll sit and wait until he knows that ball's going up, and he'll swat it into the next level. And I also really like his offensive game too. I think he's a great facilitator. I think he's an awesome passer, and which is huge. If you're not really able to shoot as a big man, you got to be able to pass so the offense can still run through you. And I think that he can do that at a high level. There's
nothing I love more than a play where the center has his back to the basket. He asks for the ball. He gets the ball. Either somebody cuts and he drops it off to him for a layup, or he kicks out for a 3, or makes a post move and made it. It's a triple threat. I mean, it is.
How hype are you going to be when we see Amari Williams high post screen, Jackson Robinson backdoor cut, and he hits him with a little bounce pass, and something we haven't seen in ever.
Yeah. Pretty hype. It pretty hype. It depends. It depends if I'm in the press box or at my house. If I'm at my house, if it's on the road, very hype. If it's in the press box, I'll have to act my age. But it depends where it occurs. So that's kind of the reality about Amari Williams. And I'm right there with you. I love the reason I like this lineup that we have, and we'll get to the twos and then the reserves here in a little bit. But I love Lamont Butler and Amari Williams being your defenders. You have a guy that can lock down a forward and a guy who can lock down a guard. You go say, okay, Amari, there's your best scoring forward. You shut his behind down. Lamont, there's their best guard. Don't let him touch the ball. And then you say, Jackson, Kobe, Andrew, score the rock. Simple as that. And maybe
and that,
a little defense too, but you know
those
what I
other
mean?
three aren't bad at defense.
No,
it's that Lamont and Amari are just that good at defense.
Defensive players of the year in their respective conferences. Like that's the so. No, they're not elite, but they're not bad defenders. Last year you'd have to call a Rob Dillingham a bad defender as much as we love him. That's reality. Mm-hmm. These guys are not bad defenders. They're just not elite defenders like Butler and Williams. So, yeah, I like.
And none of these guys are going to get bullied either, like Rob did.
And then, like for example, I'll have to pull this up. The 24/7 Sports just put out their top 25 after the NBA draft. Decisions. Kentucky's 15. As we said, I believe this is a top 15 team. That's a top 15 starting lineup. You got defense, you got slash, you got scoring, you got rebound. Williams can rebound. Carr can rebound. They can block shots. You got lockdown defenders to stop the guards. You got everything you need. Shooting, slashing, everything you can want. A big man.
In my opinion, I put them top 12, but I think they're putting them at 15 because you don't know how they're going to gel.
And another interesting thing, I'll tell you one thing. The SEC is going to be dang good this year. It's going to be – Arkansas is going to be good. Alabama is going to be potentially number one. Auburn's going to be really good. I'm sure Tennessee will end up being fine. Like the SEC is going to be really good this year. And I think that's a good thing. You know what I mean? I don't
starting to become the best conference in every single sport.
Yes. I don't Texas and Oklahoma. We have not done our due diligence because we haven't needed to yet on Texas and Oklahoma. We'll do that when we get closer, to needing to break that down. But, it's just this team can succeed in, I think, what could be the best conference of basketball next year. So it's exciting. So who is your backup two? And now hear me out. I mean, backup one.
Backup one.
So when we go through these names, we have it broken down to 5 and 5. I don't believe this is going to be a platoon. And you know what I mean? Like it's not going to be, there's not going to be line changes. So we'll get to that in a minute, but like, you know what I'm saying, Carson? I'll explain that as I ask you names. Like if we talk about Otega Owe, like, is he going to be in there? Who's he going to be in there with at times? Like, so we'll get into all that, but let's start. Who is your backup off the bench point guard?
This one's a little easier for me. It gets a little more confusing with the 2 and 3, but I think Kerr's definitely the backup one, and I have him playing 18 minutes behind Butler.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the thing about Kerr Krisha, I love his ability to pass the rock, man. I mean, I talked about it when he committed. I like when a guy makes flashy plays look easy, not easy plays look flashy. He makes flashy plays look easy. There's nothing more than, if you watch a basketball game with me, than when someone tries to make a silly pass and it turns the ball over. Where it's one of those, like, if I can get this between 4 defenders and it spins the right way, then we might have a chance at an easy layup, but it's going to get picked off, go the other way 9 times out of 10. Don't do it. Kerr Krisha makes smart decisions. He does turn the ball over some. But based on the film I watched, I think it's more it's some of it's passing, and it was the worst I didn't like that system last year. I think he's better than that turnover-wise. I think he's going to be better.
And he had to be the lead guy on his team in scoring and every aspect because he was on a not very good team.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you on that. So I like Kirk Creasy. I like a guy who can shoot, pass, and help defend a little bit. He's not as good a defender as Butler, obviously, but he's fine, and he can shoot, and he can score, and he can pass. I like Kirk Creasy a lot. And here's the deal: we're talking about a backup point guard. A backup. So let's say this. Let's say Kirk Creasy does start over Butler. Let's just say that happens. All that means is you have a former conference player of the year coming off the bench. Now you have with Creasy going off the bench, you have an elite scoring and passing point guard coming off the bench. Otega-Oweh, let's say he starts over Jackson. Let's just say, I'm not saying it's going to, let's just say that happened. You've got sixth man of the year coming off the bench. Like, either way you look at this, whoever starts, you have really good players coming off the bench, regardless of who starts. And that is really special. But so let's do it this way. You're 2 and you're 3, Carson. I want to ask them one at a time. Just tell me your thoughts on the reserves when it comes to 2 and 3.
Yeah, well, mine's kind of weird because I have Otega. I have him as my 2 and my 3, but it's based on my rotation pretty much because I have him playing 10 minutes at the 2 every game and 8 minutes at the 3 every game. And that would back up Brea and Robinson.
Yeah.
And then I have Chandler being the backup to them at the 2 and the 3, playing 4 minutes at each.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with that. Breaking news. Wildcats Today, breaking news.
Uh-oh. Let's hear it.
Ugonna Onyenso has committed to, it's not Kentucky. You want to take a guess where before I tell you?
Yeah, let me take a guess. I'm going to guess Louisville.
No, that'd be funny though. And it's not Arkansas either. I'll give you one more guess. A team that in the last 5 years beat Kentucky in the NCAA tournament.
Oh gosh. Oakland.
Yes. No. Ugonna Onyenso has committed to Kansas State.
Dang, I actually was about to guess Kansas State.
So there you go. Best of luck to Ugonna over there. Just if you play us, we don't like you. Otherwise, do your thing. But I like Otega-Oweh a lot. I mean a lot.
That's why I have him in my 2 and my 3 because I think he deserves 18 minutes a game.
Yeah. So I actually sent a letter to the NCAA asking if we could have 6 players on the floor instead of 5, and the other team as well, so that Otega-Oweh can start as well.
Yeah.
It's
not a bad thought right there.
They didn't get back to me.
No.
But that was only like 2 weeks ago, so you never know. But, Otega-Oweh, he's good, man. He's really good. And I'll tell you this, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up starting somewhere. Seriously, I wouldn't be. Like, I wouldn't be upset either. Like, if he starts at the 2 or the 3 and you put Brea or Robinson on the bench, I don't think that's going to happen. But if it did, I think he's that good. I do. I think he's that good. I don't think
that's what gets me so excited for this team too. Because like if you start Otega, like Kobe Brea coming off the bench as a 50% 3-point shooter, like are you kidding me?
Yeah, you're going to have a 6th man of the year in the SEC, I believe. That's just gonna be the reality here. So
I think so too.
But I'm with you on Otega. Playing mixed in and out at the 2 and the 3 a lot, and I like Colin Chandler too. Because I like the film. We got to see it. We got to see it.
That's why I only gave him 8 minutes because I mean it can always increase, but I think he's just so gifted, and I mean he's 6'6", so I think he could definitely earn more minutes, and he's kind of like our little star boy, right? He's our freshman. We'll see what happens.
He's actually 6'5", not 6'6", but
6'5" without shoes. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's listed at 6'6". I was making it funny. I hope Mike tunes into this one. He'll appreciate this. But so here's a really interesting name. This is one of the most interesting debates to me. And it's Ainsley Almanor. And I assume that's who you have at your backup 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me as well. I think I like him better than a lot of people do. And listen, we can't sit here and justify everybody playing 35 minutes. We can't do that. And Andrew Carr and Amari Williams are both, I think, much, much better than Almanor. But Almanor is a very solid bench player. You've got to have role players. You have got to have role players. And I think he's a really good role player. He can shoot. He can drive. He plays bigger than he is. I like Almanor. So, Carson, what do you have for him minutes-wise? What are your thoughts on Almanor as a player for the Cats this year?
Yeah, I have him backing up Carr with 12 minutes a game. But I love this piece on the bench. He helped lead Fairleigh Dickinson, is that correct? Yeah, over Purdue. They beat Edie.
He hit Edie with the "you're too little" a few times.
Yeah, he did.
I'm 6'7", 5". You're 7'4", 5.
Yeah, no, but a crazy stat about him was last year he hit 4+ threes in 13 of his games last year. That's 41% of his games. He's hitting over 4 threes.
Yeah.
That is nuts. That is nuts.
Yeah, and he's a guy, he can play a lot of positions. He can defend a lot of positions. He's athletic. He is a big dude height and, muscles wise. He's a big dude, and that's a trend too, Carson. I wanted to say, you and I were talking about this. This team, we didn't do the math on it. We'd have to look at it. But we should do that. We should do that. The height inches wise on this whole roster compared to last year. With those 7-footers, last year's roster, I bet ends up being 7-8 inches taller. But I want to look at the pounds. I bet it's insane how much stronger this team is. So, yeah, this starting lineup, wow. Listen, if it ends up being what you and I think it's going to be, Carson, 6'2", 6'7", 6'6", 6'10", 6'11". That's not a small lineup, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a small lineup. No. So you don't have the 5'11", 6-foot point guard and shooting guard that a lot.
And these are some grown ass men too. These are some built guys.
No question. So, but I'm with you on Almanor. And here's another interesting name, Cameron, who just found his passport. Congrats to Cameron. He was really concerned about that. He thought he was going to have to go get one expedited. But yeah, he just turned the corner and looked, and he's just holding up his passport. I'm like, that's good. You were talking about some nonsense. I'm just kidding. But Brandon Garrison, Cameron was over here raving about Brandon Garrison before you and I started. I like Brandon Garrison. Former McDonald's All-American. And I know it sounds like we're sitting here just sunshine pumping, talking about all these players, and they're great. My response to that would be watch film.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
How do you not like the upside of Brandon Garrison, of Ainsley Almanor, of what Colin Chandler can be if he ends up being what's possible? Otega always a monster. Kirk Risha is a monster. I would love to sit here and say one of these guys suck. They're not. They don't. They're really good basketball players. So Brandon Garrison, Carson, give us your minutes. Give us your thoughts on him, and tell us, what do you think could happen next year if he's a backup this year? You think he could be a star for the 25-26 season? Let me know what your thoughts on all that stuff.
Yeah, I love Brandon Garrison. After watching that, I absolutely love him. I have him playing 16 minutes a game behind Williams. But I think, like you said, I think this year is kind of his little bit of a breakout year, but next year is going to be his I'm here. And I am actually here. I'm going to be an NBA player, and I'm going to be putting up crazy numbers. Last year they beat BYU, or I don't know if they beat BYU, but the game against BYU, he scored over 20 points and he didn't miss a shot. His efficiency is nuts, and he's a great defender, great passer, and can score. What else do you want out of a big?
It was so funny when he transferred. Coach Pope, we would get an email every time that a player would get added, and he'd give us a quote. And his quote on Garrison was basically, he really played well against me and Coach Brooks, with Baylor. So Brandon Garrison played good games against BYU and Baylor last year. So, Coach Brooks and Coach Pope saw firsthand, this kid can be a star. And it was funny, a lot of his highlight tape were those two games, which I thought was so funny because, Coach Brooks and Coach Pope were like, damn, how do we stop this cat? Let's just go get him, I guess, when we inevitably are Kentucky's coaches next year. But it's an upside play. I think he's an elite backup center. If he was a starting center, I would say he's a solid player with a ton of upside. he's an elite backup center.
I agree.
And I think with 1 year, learning from Williams, Coach Pope, you learning from this coaching staff, developing, former McDonald's All-American, that following season, his junior season, he was a true freshman last year, he'll be a sophomore this year, a junior the following year. That junior season, he could be a star, an absolute star.
I agree.
So I'm all in there, Carson. So any other thoughts about those 10 players before we talk about the other guys here?
No, that's pretty much all I had. I kind of like my breakdown of it. I feel like that's pretty accurate because with the rotations and everything, I don't think anyone will be playing over 30 minutes a game. Just the way Pope plays.
It was like that last year, how he does it. So there are 2 names left. And I want you to tell me why they are going to play or why they're not going to play. And then I'll do the same. Travis Perry, Trent Noah, 2 Kentucky kids. Thoughts on those 2? Do we see them this year much at all? In big moments. We'll see them early in the year. Do we see them in big moments?
I would kind of be shocked to see them in bigger games. Definitely in the smaller exhibition, early season games, I would expect to see them play a little bit. But in the bigger games, I don't expect to see them. I think that these are project guys, even though I think they're both really, really good. I mean, they could both shock us and play a lot of minutes, just like Colin Chandler.
We said the same thing about Reed. I mean,
exactly.
We said the same thing. I wrote articles saying, "What's this kid's role going to be?" I mean, I think maybe he'll play. You know what I mean? No one expected what happened to Reed Shepherd. I don't think Shepherd expected that.
Especially in Pope's system, both of these guys are amazing shooters. So you never really know what's going to happen. I really like Perry. I really like Noah. Noah's size is really crucial too. He's a bigger kid. But I don't really see either of them getting much clock this year.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I think if one of them does, it would be Travis Perry. I do think he was built in the lab for Coach Pope's system. I have seen Travis Perry play live. I've not seen Trent Noah play live. I've obviously seen a ton of film on Trent Noah, but I've seen Perry play live. And watching him move without the basketball is just a work of art. And I'm sure a lot of y'all have watched that happen before. I watched him play before. And if you have, just watch him move without the ball. I mean, it is a work of art. Seriously, he's always moving. He's always getting open. And, when you're the state's all-time leading scorer, it's going to be a point to try and stop you. And he's still scoring. Like, this kid can play. So if it was going to be somebody, I would say it's Travis Perry. But I agree with you. And listen, these are not players who are just going to be like, oh, yeah, Travis Perry, he's a guy. I think these guys are going to be legit dudes sophomore, junior year. They're not going anywhere. I just don't think it's this year. I think they're going to be really good down the road. They're going to develop. They're going to learn from some veteran players on this team. They're going to get better. Coaches are going to coach them up. And then I think next year, the following year, they're going to be legit dudes for this program.
And especially in my opinion, I think like these kids grew up here. I think the word Kentucky across their chest means a whole lot more to them. So they're going to make the most out of this situation, 100%.
Yeah. I'm with you on all of that. Carson, you have any other thoughts on all of this stuff that we ran through before we call it a day?
No, that's pretty much all I got. I'm really excited for the season to get here. And who knows what we're going to do with the last roster spot. We could see him go a project route, or we could see him. Now, I mean, if they need another shooter, they could give me a ring. I would.
No,
definitely.
Who they really need
who
is Jake Nash.
Yeah,
That's who they need down low, or Cade Hill. Cade Hill can play, man. Hooper.
Yeah.
That 7th year in high school really locked him in. Love that guy. Man, I love that guy. All right. Carson, where are you going this weekend? Tell everybody. Very excited.
Yeah, I'm going on vacation starting Friday, going down to awesome Hilton Head, South Carolina. Very excited to go to the beach.
That is going to be a really, really good time. You are going to miss a super regional, good sir. And to that, I apologize because it's going to be awesome.
I know. I'm upset about it.
So what we're going to do Thursday, we'll have to figure out, ladies and gentlemen. We're really getting into the off season. So we're going to start figuring out some content. if y'all be interested in us talking a little bit about Reed Shepherd and Rob and Justin and Antonio Reeves in the draft process, let us know that in the YouTube comments. I'd like to do that because I'm very much in tune with it and excited about it. So let us know if that's something that's interesting to you, and we could maybe do it as like a bonus.
Yeah, we're getting closer to it.
Yeah, less than but 22 days away. If you haven't already, keep hitting that subscribe button. We hit 1,400 subscribers. Really appreciate y'all. We're still growing. Thank y'all so much. Remember, it's 2,000 for the Giant Slip and Slide. So, hey, help us get there. Really appreciate it. We will be back on Thursday. I hope everybody has an outstanding rest of their day today, and we will see you next time.